Yo, 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 YouTube. Today we're going to talk some of my favorite sources to find product, as well as go over some shipping and some orders that we got yesterday. Welcome back, everybody, to the Dollar Box. Today's show, we're going to do some of our normal, fill some orders, show you a little bit of what sold. And I also wanted to talk about some of my top places that I go to source inventory. So we'll go ahead and do the first order here. We've got a Michael Jordan card. Actually, this one's out of order here. We've got this Season Leaders 1994 Upper Deck card. Sold for $2.99, individual card sale. Let's get that packed up. Okay, so sources for finding cards. So I would say my number one source, and this has changed since I started doing this, pretty much my only source when I started, because I started right before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit. Obviously, you couldn't really go anywhere or do anything. Pretty much all my buys were internet. There wasn't shows. The hobby wasn't quite in the spot it is at now, where shows are, you could pick a show every weekend if you want. There wasn't any of that going on. And even slightly before the pandemic, there wasn't really shows, or at least that I was aware of, just getting back into it. That was kind of the one place you could buy cards. I did buy cards off of COMC, COMC. Basically, COMC is a middleman, right? So you have cards you want to sell that are lower end, you don't want to do the selling yourself, or you don't have enough to be able to make a profit in it. So you take your send your cards to COMC, and then they'll list them for you. Another buyer can buy multiple different cards for one shipping fee. So it's supposed to be kind of like community selling. I bought a few cards off of there, and then I was into the PSA graded stuff for my collection. All right, this next one here is a 2009 Topps Chrome Aaron Rodgers, sold for $4. So I would buy from 4 Sharp Corners. They would have a lot of, basically just search for Favre PSA 10 cards. You'd usually have 4 or 5 of them I could get a decent deal on, get them all shipped to me together, and I really liked that. It helped me build my Favre PSA collection rather quickly. In a way, some of the convenience of buying kind of takes some of the fun out of collecting. I remember as a kid taking years to find certain cards, because if all you had was like a local shop or a couple card shows in your area, there were lots of cards you would never see. It's just different now that way. The internet obviously has changed a lot of that, and there's more card shows, so there's more sourcing. I basically started out entirely buying online. I did do some Facebook Marketplace deals. I picked up a couple cards there, but that got dried up pretty quick because as the market started heating up, more and more people were buying the stuff on Facebook Marketplace as soon as it would hit. Not to mention the fact that a lot more junk got listed. Cards are hot. Great. Here's some 1991 Fleer baseball that I'm trying to sell. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. All right, the next sale here is this 1971 NFC. Actually, it's 1972, but it's celebrating the 71 scoring leaders. So it's got, what's that on there? Kurt Knight, Errol Mann, and Bruce Gossett. Had a few different copies of this card, so I was happy to get one out the door, and this sold for $2.50. So I did a couple Facebook Marketplace. If you look at some of my earlier videos, I did some sales on through Facebook Marketplace. I had some videos of selling some cards that way. I really, when I was dealing just Favre stuff, it made more sense because I live in the Green Bay area. So lots of Favre collectors, but now that I kind of do everything, I really don't want to make a bunch of in-person runs places to deal in stuff. I started by just buying lots on eBay. I'd order some stuff on COMC because there were still some cards you could get really cheap. That would be supplying what I wanted to resell. So I've got a Rookies and Stars Standing Ovation Justin Tucker. I told you Justin Tucker stuff sells. It's 2 Justin Tucker cards in 2 days. Sold for $2. Once the Facebook Marketplace stuff dried up, eBay was still good. I'm still able to get, and I still buy lots on eBay. Not quite as good as it once was. People have become more aware of the values. There's a lot more shoppers doing what I'm doing where they're trying to buy lots. I pretty much use eBay now for the like specific lots of stuff that I can't get at most shows. So like, for example, I just bought a lot of Ren and Stimpy cards, South Park cards. I still buy most of my vintage lots on there. I don't see a lot of vintage for sale around here, especially not in quantity, which is, I specialize mainly in the commons because I'm doing low end. eBay is good for the lots of things that I can't generally find at a show. All right, the next one here is a 2021 Prism Draft Picks Tom Brady, just a base. Got $225 for that. Second place that I source is definitely, or third, I guess technically, because we talked about Facebook Marketplace. Actually fourth, because we talked about ComC too. But my favorite place to source from is definitely card shows. I think it's the most fun. It gives me good content for the channel, which is always nice. Hopefully you guys all enjoy watching those. And then it also allows me to do some networking, talk to some other dealers in the area. It allows me to negotiate some prices. I can go through discount boxes and cherry pick the stuff I want instead of just buying lots, and then maybe you're stuck with some cards you weren't really interested in reselling, or you can't really resell very well. So card shows is by far the best pick. Do everything in cash. You don't pay fees. You don't have taxes. You don't have shipping. You don't have to worry about damage. It's instant. I give somebody $20. They give me my $20 in cards. You can see conditions because you can handle and look at the cards in person. So the next one sold was a 1977 R2-D2. So an R2-D2 rookie card. And that sold for $9.99. So a nice full price sale on that one. But that gives me the opportunity to, be a part of the card community in my area. So I really like the card shows. And not even just in my area. I went to the National in Chicago. I just went to Janesville last weekend. This weekend I'm going to Oak Creek, which is the Milwaukee area, a couple hours from where I'm at. So it's a chance to get out. It's a chance to look at some other cards. The other thing I really like about card shows is because I'm not looking for something specific. In most cases, I'm just looking for specific price ranges. So if I'm going through a quarter box and I see a Wayne Gretzky card that I think I could get a resale on, I'll buy that. Well, I might not be looking for Wayne Gretzky online. You'd have to specifically look for certain things you want to buy in most cases. And that's not always the best way to do it. This is a Thunder and Lighting, because they spelled it wrong on the cards. See that up there? Anyway, crazy. So this is George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk. I'm not sure where I got this card from because I wouldn't have bought this. Those aren't two guys I generally sell, but hey, I'll take the sale on it. I got $1.99 for that. So yeah, exactly. Stuff like this that I wouldn't normally, look for in a lot. I wouldn't buy a George Kittle lot necessarily. I mean, not that I wouldn't want any George Kittle stuff. It probably wouldn't be my main search terms when I'm shopping online. So the card shows kind of get you that. It gets me exposure to WWE, things like that. Let's get this one packed up here. So it gets a little bit tougher around here in winter because of obviously the seasons, the snow and so forth. That's why I'm trying to hit some of the more distant shows right now. All right, next sale is a 99 Topps. And I had a whole stack of these. You probably have seen these in prior sales videos. But this has Jeter, Garciaparra, and A-Rod on it. And I got a whole stack of these when I bought a Jeter lot, so I'm happy to see these keep moving. This sold for $1.50. So actually, I got a tip, as long as we're on this card, I've got a tip on this. So let's say you get 20 copies of this card, right? And you want, let's say market on it is $3 a card. I'm not speaking on this card particular, just for argument's sake, that's the number I'm using. Let's say you get an offer from your first buyer on one copy at $1.50. And you're thinking, well, this is a $3 card. I should get $3. I'm not going to accept $1.50. You might want to rethink that, and I'll tell you why. Because if you accept the $1.50 on that card sale, now your listing has a sale on it. So it's going to move up in some of the algorithms on eBay. It's going to get in front of some more eyes and so on and so forth. And there should be more buyers for this card that will now come back and pay you your $3 market price on future copies. It also allows you to take something where you have many copies of something and gets you some sales on it, because you don't want to be sitting around with 20 of the same thing in the store forever. So anyway, little side tip there on quantity selling. The other way that I've been buying a lot of my cards is small collections. And when I say small, I'm talking 1,500 cards for $100, that kind of thing. So there's some decent stuff in it. Again, maybe some things you wouldn't normally seek out to buy, but you could get some resale out of. So I sold the Chase Winovich Contenders auto that I just listed yesterday. These all came from the lot that I bought off a viewer this past weekend. So I've got a lot of quick sales out of those. That sold for $6, my full asking price on it. And it's just the base auto. It's not numbered or anything. Turned out to be a pretty good resource for me. I've gotten some 90s basketball that way. I bought from a baseball collector, so I got a bunch of like early 2000s rookies like Machado and stuff like that I don't really see at shows, and I don't buy singles of. Next is a 2003 Upper Deck Honor Roll Tom Brady that sold for $4. So don't sleep on those small collections. I've been fortunate. I've had a couple of viewers that have said, hey, I got some of the types of stuff that you like to resell. You know, they were watching my sales day videos, and so they had a pretty good understanding of what I like to sell, and said, hey, I got, about 1,000 cards. I've done those deals. It is a little blind if there isn't a bunch of photos and things like that, but sometimes to get something where you have a real opportunity, you have to take that bit of risk and go in blind. And what I mean by that is, let's say this seller instead lists it online with a bunch of thorough pictures, kind of like that vintage football lot I bought where I got like Steve Largent rookies and stuff like that. If those are in photos, now they're going to get more money for that lot because they put the effort in and found a buyer at a better price. You have to kind of take a little bit of leap of faith, especially if it's somebody you trust, somebody who's been watching your videos. In my case, maybe a local person who, has a bunch of stuff for your local sports team. That's who they collect. And, if you can't sell it online, you can sell them at a show, things like that. You have to do some of that evaluation when you're going to buy a collection. Next is a Sports Illustrated for Kids, Megan Ferramo. She was a softball pitcher for UCLA, I believe. Yeah, UCLA. And that sold for $8. Considered a rookie card for her. I believe it is her only card. Shout out to Sports Illustrated for Kids for making all the cards no one else licenses and makes. But yeah, so that is a good opportunity to pick up some stuff that hopefully is in your wheelhouse to sell. If not, you make a bunch of dime and quarter boxes and you take them to a show. I had a few dime and quarter piles, I guess is the best way to put it, set aside, and I was able to take a few minutes yesterday and go through those and get them into actual card boxes and into my stack of monster boxes up there that will be used at the card show on the 16th of September at the KI Convention Center in Green Bay. Next is another Aaron Rodgers sale. Shout out to this buyer. He's bought quite a few cards from me recently. Sold for $2.75. This came out of the big lot of Rodgers base stuff that I bought a while ago at 8 cents a card. So those are probably my best sources. The other is friends and family, and there's almost always somebody who's like, hey, I think I got a bunch of cards. My brother-in-law was here a few days ago. We were out of town and he was taking care of my dogs, And he said, hey, I got some old WWF stuff that I'm not doing anything with. Do you want it? And I said, sure. So I've got some Diva, some of the Diva set stuff, some of the early classic WrestleMania stuff. Not in perfect shape, but even if I get a dime a piece, I got a few bucks there. So you have to be willing to, take the not big scores if you're going to be a low end seller. You can't say, well, there's no Hulk Hogan autograph in there. I don't want that lot, especially when it was free. But even if you paid a little bit, you have to look at, I don't necessarily look at dollars. I always try to look at margins. So, for example, this is a Devin Booker Contenders card that I bought at the National when I was buying all the breakers, not hits. It's a lot of parallels and stuff like that. So there's this sparkly parallel. I bought a couple of Devin Bookers. This is my last one. I was paying 30 cents a card, and then I put together about an extra 30 cards. Plus, I got a little discount off of that. So I probably paid about 20 cents, 20 to 25 cents. I sold this card for $4. So, no, this isn't a $300 card that you're going to get slabbed and, it's going to be in fancy showcases and all that kind of stuff. But that's okay. And, I get a lot of questions about, well, geez, you sell this for this much. That's not that much profit. You're correct. It's not. In most cases, there's some times where I'm making 25 cents, 50 cents on a card. But you do that in volume. Let's say you make 50 cents on a card and you sell 200 of those cards in a day. That's $100. That's $100 per day. And then that's not going to be all your sales. You're going to have other stuff that's going to have a much better margin and a better return. For example, this card after fees, let's see, $1.25. Let's say I got $1.50 into this and I sold it for $3.50. I got $2 out of that. You sell 100 of these in a day, you got $200 for the day in profit. So you have to look at it as a scaling thing. It's all about the grind and the working for, buck here, buck there, and putting in that time and that work to see those kind of numbers. Okay, the next one is a couple of Nolan Ryan cards. I actually got these at the National as well. Out of a quarter box, so I probably paid 20 cents or so. The guy didn't give me much of a deal, but his prices were really good on the stuff that I found anyway. But anyway, there's this 93 Sports Illustrated for Kids, and then this Gypsy Queen Hallmark Heroes card. I love buying Nolan Ryan stuff. His stuff sells really well, and I loved watching him play as a kid, and I believe he's going to be unmatched in some of the things that he's accomplished. I try to buy Nolan Ryan stuff when I can. This one's not going to be thick enough. Gotta get to our little slightly thicker top loads here for this. Thought I could fit it in a skinny top load, but not quite. I'll get those two Nolan Ryan cards out. So those are my main sources. I'm going to look into some other avenues, if you will, but I can't see anything really topping shows. They're the most fun. You get out, get to talk to some dealers. You can cherry pick discount boxes when you buy in bulk, which of course I do. You can get an even better deal. No shipping. Take the cards home with you. Get to see condition. Like, there's just so many advantages to it. So I want everybody on here to share their experiences as well. Our card shows the top of the heap for you as far as sourcing, or do you have something that I haven't even considered? I would love that feedback. But anyway, I'm gonna keep going on here and fill a few more orders. I'll do a couple more on camera and then do the rest on my own. The next one is this second season insert out of 1995 Pinnacle. Brett Favre, I sold that for $1.99. And we'll do two. Actually, there's two cards I really want to show you. So I think I will just show you those quick without doing them as orders. Because they're two very interesting sales. All right, I picked these two cards, and then I picked them for two very different reasons. The first one is this one here. This is a 2018 Elite Tom Brady kicking. So this was a really cool little subset that Elite did in this year. It was called Dual Threats, and it was players doing something other than their normal position. So of course Tom Brady is a quarterback, but he punted in a game, I believe. And the back says, "Did you know he also has a powerful right leg? He showed it off during the playoffs on January 14, 2012, executing a quick kick to perfection with a 48-yard punt versus Denver, the longest of 10 punts during the game." So I just think these cards are super cool. They don't sell that well. Like, I've probably held on to this for a while. The good news is you can get them a little bit cheaper. I did get $10 for it, which is a pretty good return. But I really like that set. I think it's cool to see players doing something non-traditional from their position, especially in the sport of football where you pretty much do one thing and that's it. It's not like baseball where you hit and you field and you throw and you run and slide and all the things. In football, like, you're a quarterback, you throw the ball. That's about it. You don't catch it. You don't run with it. Well, maybe you run with it a little bit. You don't tackle anybody. You don't punt. You don't kick. So that one's really cool. The next one is this little sneaky play. So I bought a little bit of Score this year, and the reason I did that is due to the Panini Fanatics thing. I'm not sure how much NFL product's really going to make it out, and even if it does, I think there's some reservations right now from a lot of collectors and investors that there won't be much product, so I can take advantage of that with some of these early products. But anyway, this player here is Tyson Bagent. If you don't know who he is, look him up a little bit. But he just made the final roster for the Bears as the backup quarterback to Justin Fields. Now, that's significant for a couple of reasons. One, he was not drafted, and so that makes him the first quarterback to make a final roster that was never drafted. And then also the fact that Justin Fields has been injured in the past. His play style is a little bit more physical, if you will. Hopefully this year he'll do a lot more running out of bounds and things. He gets a lot of yards. He's a runner quarterback. So there is potential that this guy's going to get some playing time besides. Also, you're coming off the heels of a season where there was a virtually undrafted quarterback. I mean, he was the last pick in the draft, Brock Purdy, as a second string quarterback coming in, putting up great numbers, and now getting the starting job. So that's still kind of fresh on the minds of some collectors and investors as well. So this is just a plain old Score base rookie card, no big deal. As a matter of fact, I sold the Bryce Young Score base for $4 out of this set. I got $10 for this card. And that is not weird. That is kind of market for them right now if you look at recent sales. So sometimes the most innocent looking cards, you got to look into them a little bit and find the gem in the rough, right? The diamond in the rough. So I wanted to share that sale as something a little bit off the beaten path, but does happen from time to time. So get all the rest of these shipped out, and that'll complete the sales part for today. And then I've got a bunch of listing that I always have listing, but I've got some good stacks of stuff here to do for listing. And I want to get some more of the Monster Box stuff organized and put away. I am looking at moving my office in the very near future. As a matter of fact, I have someone in my basement right now plastering some walls we're finishing up down there, and then I'm going to work on my office and I'll be relocating. I'll make some video on that too, but I'm trying to get some of the stuff organized and put away and ready to go so that the move goes a lot quicker and smoother. But anyway, that's it for today. Thanks again so much for watching. Don't forget, tonight is the live with Charlie and the GOAT at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about what's going on in the hobby right now, the NFL season kicking off, college football, all those fun things. And we'd love to have you participate with us in that tonight. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.